Hey guys, welcome to the KickBack FC. Thank you for joining us once again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Welcome back to another episode of the KickBack FC, your go-to unfiltered one place to get all things soccer. Here you've got it all. We break it down the biggest moments, the hottest takes, and everything that you need to stay tapped into the world's game. We'll even tap into some other sports from time to time because if it's big in sports, we've got our thoughts on it. Whether this is your first time jumping in and watching an episode or you've been rocking with us from the jump, again, just want to say thank you to all of our friends and supporters. Once again, my name's Cornelius, joined by my boys and fellow co-hosts. Mike, it's good to see y'all this weekend, man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. Apart from what our boys in blue did last night, I'm feeling good. Can't complain. It's always good to see you guys, man. Salam, how you feeling?
I'm feeling sore. Feeling sore from kicking around with you guys yesterday. Um, but all is well, man. I'm excited for our show. Gabriel, how are you?
I'm alive, man. Can't complain. It's good seeing you boys on the weekend. How you feeling?
Good, man. I can agree with Salam. I'm definitely sore, but it's good to, see you boys come up this past weekend and excited for everything that's coming down the pipeline. May 4th, May 4th, May 4th. May the 4th be with us. May the 4th be with you. Just a little bit of foreshadowing. But before we get into the Premier League and start off with our teams, I do want to, just talk about a few other, news that was popping around. This actually came out last week, but we had such a long episode, we didn't really get to talk about it. I didn't bring this up in the pre-show, but Sunderland are selling a majority share of their women's team to be taken over by Bay Collective. This is the consortium, the group that owns Bay FC and the NWSL. So this is still all subject to WSL approval, but on the business side, a lot of the times the women's and the men's teams are separate entities, and we were kind of just talking about women's sports a little bit before, but your thoughts on a team, selling their rights to a team in the WSL. This is a team in England, Sunderland, who their men's team just got promoted. It seems that they want to sell, to Bay FC, who's kind of doing a lot, to be honest, as far as what they're doing in soccer. Just you guys' thoughts on it, and we always talking about having a multi-club structure. We know that City has it. We know that Red Bull has it here with Red Bull Leipzig and Red Bull New York's, as well as their other clubs. So how do you all feel about, Bay FC potentially getting in this multi-club structure, multi-club format?
I think it's great. I think something like this is needed. And I mean, we see it on the men's side, like owners, for example, the Cronkies, they own Colorado and they also own Arsenal. So I feel like, it's just like in a sense, it's another feeder system. I think it's obviously great for Bay FC because they'll be able to, kind of feed their Bay team for players that, could really help out their American team. And then they might have players that come up through academy in Bay and that they may say, hey, we want you to go help out the Sunderland team. We think, you're at that level. So I think it's great from an ownership perspective. I think it's great for them as an organization. They're definitely going to need it as well. So, yeah, it's only I only look at it from a positive standpoint. It's really not too many negatives I see.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with Gabriel as well. Were you gonna say something?
No, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I agree with Gabriel as well. Seeing that kind of partnership between a WSL team and one of these Premier League teams, it's nice to see. It's opening that relationship. We've already seen the amount of stars that are already coming to the NWSL, so this is just the start. I feel like the NWSL is making a lot of leaps and bounds in recent times. We recently just saw a summit game. What 66,000, I believe. Sellout crowd. I mean, this is just the start of it. I think we're gonna see more of this.
Yeah, like you guys said, I think it's always great when you can kind of have that bridge from the league here and the league, excuse me, over in England. And I think it's only going to help players on both sides. Players that are emerging here, to give them an opportunity to go play in England, and then maybe stars over there that are probably at the tail end of their career, or maybe past their prime, but are still looking to play at a competitive level. Not by any means saying that the NWSL isn't competitive, but for both sides, I think this only helps the league and soccer here in the U.S. and only strengthens the all the great women's soccer that we have here. So only good things.
Yeah, I agree, man. We've actually seen proof of concept over in Washington. Michelle King, she's also the owner of the women's Lyon team. So that there's
Hmm.
that consortium as well, and we've seen what she's done for women's sports. She's putting money into the study and women's injuries and how we can help prevent that. So I feel like the more money that gets pumped into the game, it's just better all around. So I agree with everything that you guys said, and it's hopefully the Women's Super League over in England agrees to the terms that the Bay FC group has, but it would be very good to see, man. And like y'all said, this just helps both teams in England and the teams here in the NWSL. So hope that merger goes through. And then the next thing I want to tap into was the Copa del Rey. We actually I was fortunate enough to watch a little bit of the Copa del Rey here this weekend, and congrats to the first American to win a major trophy in the first, in the big five leagues over here in Europe. That's La Liga, Bundesliga, Ligue 1 in France, the Premier League, and Serie A. So,
Hmm.
first American to win a major trophy. I mean, the Copa del Rey is like the FA Cup. This is the the Open Cup here in America and the MLS and the USL. This is very, very historic championship, and to deny Simeone, who's on his way out with uh with Atletico Madrid right now, a trophy, it's a big deal. I
Yeah.
was just looking at stats. There was a stat here that said, in all of the 11 finals in the Serie Simeone era, Atletico Madrid has gone 6 of 11. They won the Europa League in the 2011-2012 season. They won the UEFA Super Cup 2012-13, and then Copa del Rey also in 12-13. They lost the Spanish Super Cup in 2013. They lost the Champions League in 2013. Then they came back in 2014, won the Spanish Super Cup, lost the Champions League again in 15-16 on penalties. They won Europa in the 17-18 season. They won UEFA Super Cup again in the 18-19 season, but these last two finals that they've been in, they've lost on penalties, both this Copa del Rey and then the Spanish Super Cup in 2020. So you see that, Simeone has had a lot of ups and downs when it comes to finals, but he's one of those managers that got to finals. This one, though, shout out again to the American. I brought him up, I believe, earlier on this podcast, but when he actually got the appointment over with Sociedad, I believe they were in the relegation zone. And since then, he's brought them up to, fight for Europe. They just won a Copa del Rey. I believe they're in fifth place in La Liga right now, trying to get that top four berth as they played the last 4 or 5 games this season. So major, major accomplishments for him. Not sure if you guys have any words on that.
No, I think it's just always great to see an American find success over in Europe. Obviously, we know the stigma that is there surrounding American players and coaches. I feel like it's almost worse for coaches than it is for players, just
Hmm.
because there's this narrative that we really don't know much about the game. So for him to have the run, not just him, but for him to lead the team into the final and to beat a manager like Diego Simeone, I think is huge. And unfortunately, I had to come at Simeone's expense at the as he's kind of bowing out. But I think this is only good, and I think that this is hopefully starts to open people's eyes that we do have brilliant minds, soccer minds here in the United States.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I agree with what both of you said. I want to give since your dad their credit because this was a game where Atletico was pretty much chasing the game the whole time, and kudos to them, man. They were able to see it through. Unfortunately in PKs, but if you look at Atletico and how they played, I felt like there were multiple chances where they could have stole this game. in regulation, and they just didn't do it. Real unfortunate, Julian Alvarez, great performance, but these things happen in football, man. You go into PKs, you get your PK saved. It's heartbreaking, but great game all around. I feel bad for Simeone because he seems to have, pulled some performances out of his bag, even their path to the final, beating Barcelona 4-3 on aggregate. I mean, I feel like he's had a great season, and you would have loved to see him, pull this win off, but. Kudos to Sociedad. They deserved it. I felt like they showed up to play. They fought throughout the game, and in the end, it just went their way.
Yeah, that's great to end it there, Mike. And a little bit of background on the Sociedad coach and on the Sociedad team. They played 10 of the players that were on the pitch today were a part of their academy. So this just goes to
Wow.
show if you believe in your academy and players like Oyarzabal, we were talking about him yesterday. He's been
Hmm.
an academy guy. He's been there for 10 plus years, and it just goes to show if you do believe in what you build, maybe give these guys a chance. And then a little bit about their manager. He was born in New Jersey to Italian immigrant parents. He attended Columbia, um, and actually was a two-time All Ivy League honors as a footballer. He graduated in '99 and had a job on Wall Street, but he believed in his ability a little bit and wanted to go play football. He got a shot at the German fourth division. He never really got above the third division, but he started coaching in Germany while he was still playing there professionally. And then kind of just after that, after he stopped playing professionally, bounced around a little bit, was at Hoffenheim, at Stuttgart, and then was appointed the Sociedad manager on December 20th, 2025. They're in 16th place fighting relegation. And then from there, like I said earlier, they won a Copa del Rey, and they're currently in top five trying to get a European berth right now in La Liga. So, just shout out to the program for believing in him. Shout out to him for believing in himself. This is a guy who came to play in Germany in the early 2000s. Whatever the football landscape was back then, it's totally different now. And just, believing in yourself and realizing, okay, maybe I'm not a player, but I could be a good manager. And it's just another story in self-belief, man. It's good to see when you count on yourself and that story pays off. It's good to see stories like that, especially in the world of football. So just want to give a little highlight to that guy. But moving on to the Premier League, man, before we get into our two games this weekend between our teams, do want to just touch on Spurs. We gave them a lot of screen time last week, but I don't necessarily want to dwell too much on the game. What I do want to dwell on is, there was a statement that came out again with Danso. We talked about this offline, but the racial abuse that he had received over the last 24 hours, after the mistake that he made leading Brighton to equalize. And, Gabriel was kind of joking about it, but he said, we're probably going to see another headline about racial abuse online. And it's not funny because it happens all the time. And I was watching a little bit of the Chouameni podcast episode with the Pivot, and one of the questions they asked Chouameni was, with Vinny Jr. being your teammate, obviously he gets a lot of racial abuse, and even in the Champions League they brought up the whole being called a monkey on the pitch, and one player saying I didn't say, and he said she said, and Chouameni said, we talk about this, I feel like all the time, every season it happens to Vinny. He's one of the players that it happens to, but as a black player on the team, they're saying it to us too. We feel the same emotions, the same pain, the same, you know, everything that Vinny is feeling because he's our brother, he's our teammate. And we know that even though he's saying it towards Vinny, he means it towards all of us. And sometimes we talk about it on the pitch. Should we stop playing the game? And Chouameni was kind of like talking it out and thinking out loud, like, I don't know, should we have stopped the game? Or, Vinny said maybe we should. Vinny was the one saying, no, let's continue this game. Let's go get a win. But sometimes I don't know if that's the right call. And with this Danso thing, obviously it happened at the end of the game. So the racial abuse is online. But I don't know if there's a right answer or a wrong answer. But your thoughts on the overall game. But how do we think we could get better in this area of the game, because we see it everywhere. And I don't know if there is a right answer, but we know it's coming. Every single time something like this happens, we just know it's coming, and I feel like we have to say something about it, just because it's wrong. And obviously, being African, being African Americans here in America, we've all dealt with something similar. But for Danso, just want to say shout out to you, man. It's unfortunate what happened, but we're here with you. Um, I don't know, you guys' thoughts on the situation itself.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I don't think there's any stopping it. Like, at the end of the day, there's a bigger chance of stopping it at the actual pitch if it's something's going on the actual pitch, or while people are playing in similar cases where that's happened to Vinny. Like, yeah, you can somewhat control that, but the online stuff, bro, you can't control that. Like, there's no the only thing, yeah, as soon as it happens, as soon as Danzo made that mistake, the abuse started. So even if he wants to go on IG and disable his account, or whatever, delete his account, it's already started. He's on the pitch. There's nothing he can do unless his agent or someone in his family has his account information. So it's like, I mean, it's unfortunate, but bro, I don't there's no, like, I guess that's the $1 trillion question of, oh, how do we stop online abuse? But it's not just, it's the internet. There's no stopping the internet. There's no making a new account. You can't stop someone from making a new account on a Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. You can't stop that. So it's like, I don't see an end in this future, man. That's the unfortunate answer. Like I said, I think when you're in person and it's live on the pitch and people are doing the chants and stuff, I think that's a little bit more controllable. And then you can find players, or not players, but you can find the club and the owners and things of that sort. But when it comes to online abuse, I mean, you can try your hardest to try to hunt down these people, but there are thousands, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of people abusing one person. It's hard to track that down on a digital footprint status and bring those people to actual justice. So the real answer is, bro, I don't think it's gonna stop. That's truly just it's an unfortunate situation that Black players just have to go through. Because I don't think online abuse is ever going to stop. And I don't think even just in sports. I think just in general in life, like, how can you stop online abuse? Because by the time someone sees it, it's already too late. Like, but once that person has visibility to it and they see it, it's already too late. You know what I mean? So I feel bad, man. It's terrible, and obviously, it, like, we always banter Spurs, and I remember Cornelius and I don't know if we're watching highlights or something, but Cornelius was like, I hate that it had to be him, because we know that what comes with those type of mistakes in Spurs situation, especially for any Black player. Like, for example, when England and Saka and Rashford and I think it was Sancho all missed their PKs, it was like, I hate that it had to be them. Because at least for, their white counterparts, yeah, they may get slack online, but it's not racist, It's not racist. Like, yeah, you're a bad player. We've all heard that all day. Those are things that you just have to live with as a professional footballer. But the racist abuse is something that's completely different. And definitely, I'm not trying to say that it's not mentally taxing to just get abuse online, but racially abused or racially charged abuse is definitely different. So, yeah, I don't think it changes, but it's just sad, man. It's truly just sad.
I agree with your point, Gabriel. I think there is a way to control it. I just don't think that they would do that, because ultimately, like, they make too much money off of,
What's the way to control it, though?
Do it. Well, I mean, like, here in America, like, you can't, sports betting is like really big here, and you can't like set up more than one account on like one platform, if that makes sense. Like, you could go, I don't want to just plug all the sports books here, but like, let's say you use a sports book, and you can go sign up for B sports book, right? But you can only sign up with your own account. and how do they verify it with your identification and all that.
Yeah,
I
but Salam, that means that now for every social media platform, now you have to have a form of identification.
Yeah, and I
That
think that's necessary. I think that's necessary because why?
okay?
What are you hiding? Because like what are you hiding? What when I signed up for IG, everybody knows that Mr. Indaloo is Salam Indaloo. Like there is no like if I say something or if I comment something, it comes from me. I can't just go make another sportsbook account and then just be like, hey, uh, this is my main sportsbook account, but this is the sportsbook account that I use just to squander some of the money. Like it doesn't work like that. And ultimately, like I think if and this is like a much bigger issue because you're right. I
It's a
think like
policy. It's a
the,
policy
the-
issue more than like a
correct because to your point, Gabriel, like the abuse started a second after that mistake happened, probably.
Hundred
Like
percent.
it's not like a thing where it was you got to kind of marinate on it for a few moments. Like, no, it's an instant thing. But again, like I think that there needs to be direct consequences for people who do that. And like you can't like what is the use of having like these little like silly burner accounts? You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to have like a Finsta, right? But like or what I'm saying on Instagram, you know what I'm saying? But again, that has to be directly tied towards you. I think that there's just quite frankly a lot of people who do that who create accounts like that for this specific reason alone because they wouldn't dare do that on their main profile.
Yeah.
So like for me, I think it's a much bigger issue than just like Cornelia said, like a policy issue. I think that there are definitely ways to control it. And I mean, let's be real. If they really wanted to track down these people, I'm 100% sure that they have the capabilities to track it with
Mhm.
however your IP, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that it's unfortunate that here we are in 2026 talking about the things that we're talking about. We have the technology to quite frankly pinpoint everything. I mean, you can pinpoint everything. Find my iPhone, all that shit, bro. You can find it. So to me, there's no point in having, uh, multiple people or I'm sorry, one person who has these multiple accounts, and there's no identification tied with it because we have to know who it's from. Like that's not you can't just say that and then do that. And if you do say that on your burner account, well then you have to pay the price for that because like that's not it's not okay. And ultimately I think that that's a lot of people are scared to do it on their main profiles, which is why
Yeah.
they make these new ones. But if you could refrain them from doing that, then I don't think that we would see this issue. Because if someone did it on their main profile, it's like cool, we're going we know where to go.
You
We
can
can
find
grab
it.
you and
Yeah.
then we're going to take you to where it needs to go. Because like you said,
So,
if it was something in the stadium, they would take them there, they would charge them, and then they would serve whatever consequence that they would have to serve, whether it be jail time, community service, whatever the case may be, or even just the simple fact. And I think that this goes like swept under the radar. I think even just being labeled as a racist is like bad enough. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, white people don't want to be just labeled as like racist. That's a tough, you know what I'm saying? It's a tough
But nah, just but nah, bro. I feel like, I mean, this is just me just casually thinking, and I don't want to get into a whole political conversation. But it's like, bro, I feel like how how certain offenders have to sign up for lists. Like, I feel like there should be a racist like list. Like,
yeah,
there should
for
be
sure.
like
For
a
sure.
list of, hey,
if
if
you've
you
been
were caught, yeah, if
convicted
you were convicted or caught of being like
racial
blatantly
abuse.
racially like abusing someone, whatever, you should be on a list. Like, you should. I truly feel like that should be a thing in the world. But yet again, that's just me just casually
Yeah,
thinking.
and again, I like this probably is a policy question. This ain't no, this isn't that type of podcast. But in other countries, in Europe, they even have restrictions on your age. When you sign up for certain social media, they don't let anyone younger than 15 or 16 get a social media. And there are ways to, like Salam said, safeguard and make sure that you are identified. This is who you say you are. So there are ways. And again, I feel like that's a policy question, but it's just sad. At the end of the day, we all knew this was coming, and there's nothing we can necessarily do about it now as fans, as players, as those that work within the system. But I think there do need to be changes because It's not, bro. We don't need to see that. Like before, sure, maybe it happened on the pitch, but now with the advent of the internet and social media, like Gabriel said, it's everywhere. It's happening a second as soon as the incident happens. But with Wolves actually just failing to get all 3 points at home this past weekend, it's looking more grim and more grim as each week passes. They have 5 more games. They play Wolves this upcoming weekend at the Molineux. This has to be the one. I know we talked about it last week, but with them dropping points to Brighton at home, they currently still sit a point under West Ham, who plays tomorrow. What y'all saying now, Salam? Because you were the one who still had some faith in these boys.
No, I still, I know it sounds crazy, but I just don't see them getting relegated, bro. I think tomorrow, I think Crystal Palace is gonna, what do they say over there? Mash work versus the West Ham tomorrow, bro. I don't see it, bro. I just don't see it. Nottingham Forest won't. Nottingham Forest, I feel like they're safe. I think they have enough to keep them safe. But Spurs, I still feel as if, and we talked about this too, or at least Mike and I talked about this on the way up to Cleveland. I thought they were the better team on the day. Ultimately, yeah, they shared the point, but like, that point came down to the last moment. And ultimately, yeah, you have to see out the games, but I don't know. I just felt as if like that was the it sucked that it took until match 33. But I was like, wow, this was the best I've seen Spurs in a while, and I still think that they're going to make it out. But like I said, I mean, if they get relegated, it's good for everybody. So I mean, that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, see, last week I didn't agree. Last week I thought they were going down for sure, but after the way they played this past weekend, I can see them hanging around. I can see them hanging around. Um, like Gabriel's been saying, if they lose this Wolves game, it's truly over. I do believe if they lose this Wolves game, it's truly over. We hope West Ham don't get a result next week. They have to be hoping West Ham, hopefully draw points. But if West Ham is able to pick up points tomorrow and they don't win at Wolves, I don't know if they're gonna make it. But from their performance yesterday, I can see them staying up. If they can replicate that at least in the next 5 games, I can see them staying up.
I don't know why you guys still are having faith in this team. They just proved themselves once again after this weekend. Because this weekend I was like, wow, I heard that. I didn't even watch the full game, but I was like, I heard they're playing well. Okay, they actually may have something. 2-1, they got the goals. I saw the Xavi Simon's goal. I said, you know what? Great goal. But then again, bro, when he took his shirt off, I was like, bro, 76 minutes. Too early. What are you doing? it just get like the same with Charleston vibes. Like, come down and they draw the game. So then as soon as that moment happened, I said, well, here we go again. Here we go again with them. So yeah, nah, man. I still stand by my statement if they lose on Saturday. Even if I think they draw, I think it's done. I think they're going down. But yeah, I think this is, like I said, man, we're now midway through April, heading towards the latter end of April, and you still don't have a win in 2026. Teams like that, bro, deserve to go down. Wolves, they're going down. They didn't win in 2025, they're going down. You guys haven't won in 2026. You deserve it, bro. Simple as that. You deserve it.
Yeah, I bet you that racist person forgot Xavi Simons was black for a second when he scored the goal to put him
100%.
That really does still bug me, man, because the reason why you're in this situation is not because of Danso. Danso made one mistake. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to abuse someone, go abuse Van de Ven. That's the real criminal right there.
Like to point out a lot of people.
Nah, but let's. I like. Let's point at them though.
Yeah, man. 5 more matches for Spurs. Will we wish you the best, or we don't. Sink or swim, drip or drown, as they say in the streets. But nah, man. Let's get to our teams. Don't want to postpone the verbal the verbal banter here any longer. Chelsea, we're done. Yeah, just go ahead and we're for me, bro. We're officially out of the top 4 race. For me, we might even be out of the European race at this point. Is can we stay on the top half of the table? Um, and I say
Yeah.
with 100% seriousness. When you look at the teams behind us, Brentford on 48 points, Bournemouth 48 points, Brighton 47 points, Everton is currently in 10th place with 47 points, Sunderland 46 points, Fulham 12th place with 45 points. There's only 3 points that separate 6th place to Fulham right now in 12th place, and
Yeah.
we're playing like we can pick up any wins anytime soon. Our last home win in the Premier League was our January 35th 3-2 win against West Ham. Our last win have been 2 games that are in the FA Cup, both against teams that are in the Championship and the 4th
Yeah.
division in the English Premier or English football. So for me, if we're not able to grab wins in the Premier League, if we're only able to somehow grab wins in the FA Cup, if we're not even maintaining draws against some of these teams that we should be potentially winning, I don't really see how we can confidently look at this team in the last 5 weeks. And some of these matches that we have in the last 5 weeks are tricky. So it's like I don't know how as a fan we can honestly look in the mirror and see us potentially being in Europe next year. I really don't. And honestly, I don't think we deserve it. From the top down, this year in 2026 has been horrible. We've had more losses this year with Liam Rosenior at our helm than Maresca had while he was here. I mean, there's so many stats that I could go over. The how many points we've dropped at home, how many points we dropped from winning positions. We can talk about all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's just Chelsea right now is rotten to the core. And, hopefully this summer brings a lot of enlightenment and a lot of looking in the mirror from those all the way at the top to those who play on the pitch 90 minutes, week in, week out. No one has any excuse for me. And so I personally think that, hopefully we can somehow plug the holes in the boat and get through these last 5 weeks. But I really don't see any upside these next 5 weeks. The only upside I potentially can see is the FA Cup, but we're going against a city who smells blood. And I don't think they're just going to give anyone just trophies for fun. So, I don't know how Mike felt about the match. You could talk about United, but again, I said this in the group chat, bro. If we don't get 3 points against a team that is down 3 center backs, we really have bigger problems. Like we really do. And we weren't able to. It just didn't look good this past weekend. Nothing looked good.
I mean, yeah, I agree with everything you said. To me, this season comes down to the owners. I thought they made a horrible decision at the middle of the season. Letting a coach like Maresca go. Um, this might put us back 2 years. That decision might put us back 2 years, and I don't know, man. There's nothing to really write home about. There's nothing to grasp onto. It's affected the guys on the pitch, man. You can see it from the front to the back. Everybody feels and looks different in terms of their temperament and how they looked at the beginning of the season when Maresca was there. But I mean, there's nothing to say here. We don't. You can't be shouting top four if the team is not playing like one. Everybody's taking care of business. Aston Villa took care of business. Liverpool took care of business. United took care of business. I mean, we haven't done that in the last, I don't know what, 4 games in the Premier League. So at this point, you can't just sit here and be saying, "Oh, we're gonna make top four." I mean, there's only 5 games left. Um, they haven't won the last 4. What makes me think they're gonna win the next 5? Maybe they can get some points, maybe ties, draws here and there, but yeah, it's very dangerous position we're in right now because 2 more and we could be out of top 10. So I'm looking at the players right now. What kind of pride do you have? Are you gonna dig? Are you gonna dig deep down inside of you to find something to play for? As of right now, you shouldn't even be looking to Europe. You should be looking to putting out performances and being consistent. Like Europe should not be in your calculation right now because clearly, we don't deserve it. But kudos to United, man. They took care of their business, came to our crib and did what they can. And it just annoys me because it didn't take much. It really didn't take much, and it's very disappointing that just a play that could have been prevented by Garnacho himself. Just that one play was really seriously the difference of the game. We had our chances, just didn't put them away. I have no excuses. We are just not good enough right now. So we as a team, we as an organization should even been thinking about Europe because what makes us think we deserve Europe right now? The
Yeah,
owners
and
are gonna look at this and then they'll sit here and try to hire another fucking mistake. But we'll see if they're gonna learn from this season, from their decision, which directly affected the season. We're gonna see if they learn from it.
and before Salam talks about the flip side and United, I do want to talk about that, Mike, because you know I look at the Aston Villa game, and this is a game where they're up 3-1, and then Sunderland quickly scores two in the last, 10 minutes of the match to make it 3-3. And Sunderland had a chance to go and make it 4-3, and unfortunately they didn't. They end up losing 4-3. But I look at Villa, who's in a similar position. I look at Liverpool, who's in a similar position, 1-1 at Everton. That game could have gone either way. Everton could have won
Hmm.
that match easily. And, kudos to Liverpool and Van Dijk. He scores a header at the last minute essentially of injury time and wins the game for them. They understand the moment. And that's why I said, yeah, it's on
Exactly.
the owners, but it's on the players too, bro. The players are on the pitch and there's no fight, there's no urgency, there's no understanding of, oh, we only have 5 matches left after this, and even if we want to potentially even have a chance for Europe, we need to get points here. Even if we
Yeah.
don't scrape 3 away, we need to leave here with something. And there's none of that. It
Yeah.
wasn't none of that on the pitch, and that's
Yeah.
the issue. It's not just the owners. Yeah, the owners,
No,
they
they
did
just.
what they
I
did.
did say
Yeah, it's not
they haven't
necessarily the manager.
showed me anything that they can dig deep, so we don't
No, I
deserve to
and
make it.
no, I agree, and I just
Yeah.
wanted to harp on that point one more time because I was thinking about what you said about Europe, and I was thinking about the teams that are currently above us and also fighting for Europe, and they took care of business this week, like you said. Liverpool 2-1 win, Aston Villa 4-3 win, United they beat us 1-0, and again, like you said, was just one mistake on Garnacho. But the fact that we weren't even able to pick up off of that mistake, it happened early enough in the match to where you can still come
Hmm.
back and do something about it. It wasn't none of that. And so for me, I agree. We don't deserve Europe. I don't even care what happens the last 5 matches of this year. Me finishing 7th or finishing 12th doesn't mean anything because I already know that this year's been a wash since we let Maresca go, but time after time, I've said the honeymoon phase is going to eventually disappear, and what are we going to have to show for it? But yeah, man. Salam, on the flip side, how do you feel about the match and just your overall thoughts on United right now? Securing that
Um,
top 4 and back in Europe,
I,
I guess.
I wanted to ask you though, real quick, because you guys, you brought up something that made me think about this. So I mean, I've been seeing a lot online just about like Rosenior, and there seems to be a really big disconnect from him and some of the players. I mean, like Fofana got subbed off, he walked straight back into the dressing room. Like, do you think like he's like, well, where do you guys stand with him? Is like more so my question. Do you think it's just like he was just thrown into a bad situation? Do you think that like with the new season, could he really turn things around, or do you just don't think that he's at the level required for
I, I I think we've seen this before. In Graham Potter. Hey, you might be a great guy. You might be a great upcoming coach. You might have the tactics and all that. This job is just too big for you. It's too heavy for you. I love the guy. I love Rosenior. To be honest, he was at a disadvantage when he came in. So to be honest, I don't look at it as, oh, he did this or What the fuck was he gonna do? I mean, like Cornelia said, once they let Maresca walk, that was the season. This guy, after a while, the guys are gonna smell if you're for real or you're bullshit. And these guys have been under certain managers that have, real caliber managers. So eventually they're gonna find you out. And I just think that's what's happened. That's what's happened because it doesn't look like they really are buying into whatever he's selling. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him because it's like I never expected you to do anything. I had high hopes that eventually maybe you could get something going, but he was at a disadvantage, so I can't even blame him. Like that's my true genuine feeling. I don't have any attachment to him at all. There's just like no like, oh man, you should. I don't know if this job is even you can carry it. You can't. I know you can't. I was hoping you could, but he clearly can't.
5 years ago when we were in this situation, we went and the manager that we got in January was Thomas Tuchel. Now, he had a CV behind him. So
Yeah.
we knew what we were getting. Did we think that he was going to go on a Cinderella run and win the Champions League? No. But at least we knew, hey, whatever he has in store for us for the next 5 months is something that I know that we can, as a Chelsea fan base, stand behind and say, all right, we went and got a decent manager with a decent resume. We're still in decent competitions. Let's go see what we do with this. Rosenior was given the job around the same time as when Tuchel was given the job in January. We were still in multiple competitions. We were still in the Champions League. We still had a very good outlook on the season. We had just, I believe, we were top four at that point still in the season. We were second place in the beginning of December. Then we had our little rough patch in December. We end up sacking Maresca, but we're still top four when Rosenior comes in. He
Hmm.
had his honeymoon phase, but like I said, eventually that's going to wear out. We're going to be in 3, 4 competitions. How are you going to, is this just a flash in the pan, or is this going to be something that we can, support through the end of May? And like Mike said, this is somebody who was kind of just thrown into the Wolves den, bro. We were in Champions League, we were in FA Cup, we were in Carabao Cup, and
Hmm.
eventually you're gonna have to manage. And like Mike said, he hadn't been in this situation before. This is a young manager. So I think that what we were able to do was good while we had him. But bro, we were fighting for things as a fan base, and I don't think he
Hmm.
understood the gravity of the situation he was coming into.
Nah.
And I was just wondering because I don't know, I see a lot of criticism being directed towards his way, and I don't like you guys said. I don't even think it's really all his fault. But in regards to the game against you guys, I mean, what's funny is Mike and I were watching that on the way up there, and for large parts of the game, I just felt like we were kind of just even. There really wasn't a lot for me to take away from the game aside from the 3 points, obviously, which was the most important thing. Uh, I mean, the trajectory of the game surely changed when Esteval got hurt. I don't know how long he's going to be out for, but hopefully it's not for too long. But when Garnacho came, man, I felt very easy, felt very comfortable, and I felt like that was ultimately where the momentum of the game shifted for sure. And I could tell, especially when he was coming on, our players looked a lot more up for it, especially in the second half. But to me, Stamford Bridge to get the 3 points at Stamford Bridge and to not play well, I think is a sign of a good team. I did want to highlight Bruno Fernandez for another assist. Um, I said this a few weeks ago about him being in the conversation for Player of the Year. He's currently at 18 assists right now. The record is 20 assists, held by Thierry Henry and Kevin De Bruyne, and he has 3 more assists to get in 5 more games. And I fully believe he's more than capable of doing that. And if he does that, I think he's nailed on for player of the season. Record breaking, record breaking season for the league as well as the for our team as well too. He broke David Beckham's record as well. And I
Hmm.
mean, when we look around, I mean, we can have a conversation about who we think player of the season is. There's really not anyone that's like nailed on for me. I'm sure you could, name a few people. For me, if you were to ask, I would say Bruno is up there. Gabriel is up there for Arsenal. Holland is up there. I mean, with the goals, you can't really deny Holland.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and if I'm being honest, if we're just going off of this guy's season, I would say Igor Thiago deserves to be up there as well too. But
Hmm.
from the four of them, I think to have a record-breaking season, um, I think he surely needs to be nailed on if he gets that assist record. But I did want to say something about Carrick as well too, though. You know, honeymoon phase is over. I said after the international break, we should have a good sample size of where we are with him. And to be very honest with you, and I know it's going to sound crazy because of how well he's done, especially after the past weekend's 3 points against Chelsea. But I don't know. I think we seriously need to consider looking in a different direction as far as who our manager is going to be. And again, I know it sounds crazy, but and Gabriel said this actually a few times in the season, and I've agreed with him. I think Ruben Amorim was just making things a little bit more difficult than it needed to be. Going into this season, I told you guys like we actually have good players, and we have players that can compete. He just needs to put them in the right position, and I really think that's all that Carrick's done. There are two moments that really stick out to me. From three moments actually, three moments that really stick out to me during his tenure as interim manager. The first one was the draw versus West Ham away. The second one was away at St. James where we lost, and then the most recent loss at Leeds United at home. I think in those games we really, those games obviously like they weren't going our way, and it served as an opportunity for you to really show, that you can try and affect the game. And I felt like he fell short in that regard. If we're being honest, I felt like every game that we've played, I mean, we have less and less possession. We're creating less and less chances. Um, I just think that we need someone that has a little bit more experience, someone who has been in these competitive games and ultimately can make the decisions necessary for us to give us a chance at seeing a different result. But I don't know if you guys remember too, Chelsea guys. Do you guys remember when Andres Villas-Boas was the coach, and then Roberto Di Matteo came in and won you guys a Champions League? And then do you guys remember what happened the following fall? He got sacked after the first few months of the Premier League season because, well, it's not a hangout anymore. It's not a kickback, no pun intended. So I think that we're going to need someone that's a little bit more that has more experience. And I really think that Nagelsmann seems to be the person that is talked about a lot. I think from all the options, he seems to be the one that's we probably have the most opportunity to get, because I don't think that we're going to get Tuchel or Luis Enrique. But again, if it's between Nagelsmann and Carrick, I'm taking Nagelsmann, because at the end of the day, everything is not going to be peachy rosy all the time. Managers are going to have to affect the game, and I feel like in the few situations where Carrick has had to do that, he didn't. Even bringing on Xerxes and Ahmad, we needed that sub 10 minutes prior to them coming on. But and it sucks, obviously, because he's done so well. And, I would consider maybe not a club legend, but I would definitely say a club great for sure. But I think it's time to move on at the end of the season.
Fair enough. I mean, that's high praise though, because we've talked about this Carrick situation all season since it happened. Well, I guess since it happened in January, and you've given him honestly ample time to show himself. He gave you a showcase of games, and I think where you stand is probably fair as a United fan. You guys deserve to improve on what you've had this season. Speaking from a Chelsea fan, coming off of last season, I only expected to improve off top four, off winning a trophy. And I think now you guys are in a space where you should be competing for these domestic trophies later down the line. And, if you stay top four, you'll be in Champions League. You should see what a Champions League team looks like, versus in this new format versus some of these teams in Europe. So I don't know. I think United is in a really good spot, and hopefully you guys make a good decision in the summer, because this is going to be a big summer, post World Cup and everything. So
That's a good point. I'm not trying to go to the Parc de France with Michael Carrick. I'm sorry, bro.
yeah, like you want to see how you stack up against some of these other teams, some of these other, these other competitions, these other countries. So It'll be good to see what y'all do at the end of the summer. But, let's get to the game of the week, man. I don't want to spend too much time on the intro. This was the game that everybody's been talking about for the last few weeks. It's been a lot at stake for these two teams. And like the City players have said in the past, they smell blood. This isn't the first time that they've been chasing Arsenal, but, you know, if City win their game in hand on Wednesday, this is a completely different table. So, Gabriel, your thoughts on the match, and the question that we have here that we talked about on the pre-show was, should Gyökeres should have started? Should he have started? And I want to ask a second question. Do you agree with how Arteta managed the game today?
Well, let me just get this out the way.
No, I don't believe he should have started. I didn't mind the Kai Havertz start, if I'm being honest. I think just for the type of player that he is, I don't think Gyökeres is that great at holding the ball up and winning headers and things of that sort. And I knew that's a lot of what this game would have been. Us needing to break pressure, Kai Havertz needing to hold the ball up and keep possession. That's not Gyökeres' strength, if I'm being completely honest. So, or not what I've seen at a super high level. So, no, I'm not mad about the non-Gyökeres start. To answer your question about Arteta, am I mad about how he managed it? I would say I wasn't mad about the lineup, but how he managed the game once the game got later, yeah, for sure. He seemed very hesitant. I feel like once we went down 2-1, it was as if it's like he hesitated to make the offensive substitutions, and then once it got closer later down to the wire, it's like he had some realization of like, oh, we should actually try and go get a point from this game. And for me, it's a little too late. Like Gyökeres shouldn't be coming on at the 80th minute. I don't know why. As soon as we went down 2-1, it should be all offensive subs. I understand why Ben White came on Mosquera's on a yellow. So we obviously don't want him to get it ready. Doku had him on skates the entire match. So I understand why he came off. But from there on out, should have been more offensive. Why Eberechi Eze comes off during this match, I don't understand. Wrong substitution, wrong decision. I think, if anything, Zubimendi comes off and, I forgot who came on. Was it? Shoot, I can't remember. Was it Martinelli that came on? Yeah, Martinelli.
Martinelli and Trossard.
Martinelli came on for Nani Madueke, which at halftime, which needed to happen. 100%. Don't mind that substitution at all. Needs to happen. And personally, I would have rather Max Stallman come on, if I'm being completely honest. But I understand you go with experience, you go with guys that you've gone to war and battle with, and you don't throw a 16-year-old kid into the fire, which I completely understand. But taking off as a completely wrong decision. He was actually one guy who really seemed on it. Whenever he got the ball, it looked like he was looking to create and looking to score, looking to create, looking to advance the ball forward. Something that we definitely needed and missed. So yeah, I think managing the game during the match was pretty bad from Arteta today. I won't lie. He seemed very hesitant, very scared, if I'm being honest. But from a whole team standpoint, yeah, if I were to look at this game as a whole, I would just say that City wanted the game more, and it showed. The first 45 minutes, I think, I can live with a brilliant moment from Ryan Cherky. I can live with that. Like, he scored the goal, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? This guy dribbled through 3 defenders, little touches here and there, and got a great shot off. Like, you have to live with individual moments of brilliance. If those don't happen multiple times during the match too often. So, especially with a team like us, I have to live with that. Fine. Cool. 30 seconds later, Donnarumma gets us a gift. Literally gives us a gift. So now we're 1-1. And after that goal, you could tell that, yes, City was still the more dominant team, but we started to hold our possession a little bit more. We started to grow into the game a bit more. Mm-hmm. As the second half came on, I said Nani Madueke is coming off is the right decision. I don't think he had a great or bright first half. And, yeah, we needed to make a change there. My only other decision was saying Maybe Mosquera needs to come off because Doku had him on ice the entire game. Mosquera was from minute one, Doku had him. So, and he was also on a yellow. So that was maybe my only decision. Maybe Mosquera needs to come off a little bit earlier, but he actually, held his own pretty well in the second half. So I can't be mad at that. So from the first half, I think we did fine. Obviously we're playing at City. It's going to be tough, but the first half was fine. Coming out in the second half was when I'm thinking, we actually might be able to. We should be looking at this first half. We didn't even play that well, and it's still tied 1-1. Now we should feel good enough and confident enough to go and get something out of this game, go and potentially get a win. And I feel like they came out not believing. I feel like they came out flat. They came out not believing. They came out without this so-called fire that Arteta's been talking about, this hunger that like they don't know the situation that they're in. If you look at the first 15 minutes of the second half, City is taking it to us. We're literally pinned into our own half for the first 15 to 20 minutes of the second half. It's actually ridiculous. We can't break the lines. We can't hold possession. We can't play out of this press that they're pressing us with. Nothing's working. Absolutely nothing. And then I understand you need to check and change things up, but then to take out Eze, who's been one of our better players on the day, who hit the post, who looked like I would say our most attacking or most threatening attacking player at that time, to take him out. I mean, completely wrong decision. And going back to the second goal that they scored. I mean, it's just a multiple things happening on a team effort that led to the goal. Martinelli, you can go back to the film. So I've watched the game over. You go back to the film. Odegaard's literally telling Martinelli, "Hey, go to tuck in and guard Nico O'Reilly. I will step and go high when the ball gets played out wide. If they play it out wide, Martinelli steps all the way, leaving the huge gap for Nico O'Reilly. That's how the break starts. And then Gabriel, you lose a 1v1 battle with Haaland. Not saying that obviously you had so many throughout the match, and yes, I believe that you should be doing better, but bro, you just can't give an opportunity to the best goal scorer in the world. You can't give him an opportunity like that on our six, on his favorite left foot as well. Simple. It's going in 9 times out of 10. A player like that is going to score. So, and even with that, they score. We still have time on the clock to go and get one. Like I said, we hit the post. We had a couple chances, and then it comes down to at the end of the day, Kai Havertz, it's not good enough, bro. 92 minutes, 93 minutes in, you have a clear header from Trossard, and you don't even get the ball on frame. And you understand once again the situation that you're in as a team. You understand the magnitude of this match, and we can't even put a free header on frame in their box. No one's jumping with you. No one is throwing you off, knocking you off. This ball was perfectly placed by Trossard on your head.
Bro, for a tall guy, he sucks at heading.
And it's terrible.
Golly.
I'm putting that on frame. Like, I hate to say that, but it's like, bro.
Me and Mike had free headers yesterday.
Come on. We're putting that because the ball is hit with so much pace and whip that you don't even need to put power into your header. Just guide it where it's already going. Mm-hmm. That's all you need to do. And what does it do? It goes straight and over the bar. And at that point, I knew it was over. So, we don't take advantage of the chances that we have. They take advantage of the chances that they have, and that's what it comes down to, margins. Now at the end of the day, I don't want to sit here and be all negative, because at the end of the day, the reality is, I spoke about the reality last week. I said our reality for this upcoming week, which was this week, was, hey, there's a reality where we can be 9 points ahead. We can be in the semifinals of Champions League. We can be 3 points ahead, and we can be out of Champions League. And it seems like we sat right in the middle. We're in the semifinals of the Champions League. We're only 3 points ahead in the league. And it's not, I'm not going to sit here and again say Actually, no, I'm not going to sit here and say that we're in panic mode, but obviously now it's do or die. Now it is for the rest of the season. If this match wasn't a final, I would like to say that every Premier League match from here on out, honestly, every match, because Champions League is the same thing. Every match from here on out is now a final. Just to put the pressure there, it is what it is. This is what you signed up for. The pressure's there. Every match is a final. And now it is whoever draws or loses a match, whoever the other, if the other team takes advantage on that week, they're winning the title. That's where I stand at this point. Because now you guys wanted a race, everyone wanted a race. This is the race now. The race is you have to win out, and not only do you have to win out, you have to score as many goals as possible. Because in this scenario, it comes down to goal differential. City is now 3 points behind, 1 point or 1 goal away from equalizing our goal differential. So, like I said, we still control our own destiny. At the end of the day, it's the truth. That's just the reality of the situation.
No.
Arsenal still controls their own destiny. Now, are you going to take your destiny and your fate and put it in your own hands? That's up to you guys. That's up to Arteta and the 28-man squad and the rest of the unit. It's up to you guys. I saw after we lost the match, there's a moment someone caught it on camera and said Odegaard was going up to Declan Rice and he was sitting on the floor, and Odegaard came to him and he said, Declan Rice said, "We're not done." And I 100% agree with him. Everyone can go and banter today. Everyone can say, "Oh, Arsenal are bottling it. It's not in the third." 100%. Yes, we've fallen off. We've had this blip. We're slipping. We're dropping points. But at the end of the day, we control our own destiny.
Yeah,
we control our own destiny. If we win every match, and if we minimize the goals that we get scored on, we can still become victorious come final match day. Simple as that. But like I said, man, it's up to these players. It's up to these guys. And if you don't take advantage if you don't play like this against the Bournemouths, against the Crystal Palaces, against the West Hams, against whoever, you're not going to win. This is the standard to win games. And yes, this is one of the best teams in the world. But at the end of the day, this should be your standard day in, day out. It shouldn't take a Manchester City Arsenal game for you to say, "Oh, this is how we want to play. We want to advance the ball and move the ball forward and this and the third." It shouldn't take this. But for whatever reason, every time, for the past 3 seasons, this is what it takes. It takes a big match. It takes a huge moment for now. You have to try and prove to yourself. No, we should be taking care of business before that. But like I said, that's besides the point. We're in the control of our own destiny, and now you're in a true race. We say the race and this before, but now this is the true race, because now there's no room for mistakes or no room for any errors in anyone's game. Because every goal that you should be scoring, now you need to score it. It's not you should be scoring, it's now you need to score that. And every goal that we need to keep out of goal, David Raya, I need you to be as close to every shot stop to save that shot. Gabriel, defenders, I need you guys to block everything and not concede goals, because like I said, like we talk about every year, goal differential is important. And yes, how many times has it come down to goal differential? But again, this is one of the years that goal differential will now play a huge part in potentially deciding the title. So yeah, this today obviously sucks. Especially when a game where I feel like a draw would have been 10 times better than a loss. Grabbing any type of points or anything out of this match would have been great. But at the end of the day, you need to go and look in the mirror and say, "Hey, we have our next." You don't have time to sit here and ponder, because the season's not over. It's that simple. You still have everything to go and fight for. Nothing. If you want to look at it, yes, things have changed between last week and this week in standings of the table and potentially who might be first after come next Wednesday or next Thursday. But in the grand scheme of things, nothing has truly changed. Nothing has changed. You're in the same position that you were last week. You still control your own destiny. So it should be business as usual. And now go and complete the mission. You guys have 5 weeks. You have 5 weeks.
Let me ask you this. As an Arsenal fan right now, you guys are still in Champions League semifinals in the Champions League. Now you're really in a title race with City, and I agree with you 100%. I still think, yeah, banter all we want. It's fun. We do it to each other, but at the end of the day, you still really hold your destiny in your own hands. It comes down to who loses a game. Whoever loses a game pretty much loses the Prem. So I agree with you. You still have your destiny in your hands. But at this point of the season, would you rather focus on Prem or would you put your energy in Champions League? How do you think Arteta should go about this? And also, my second question to you, Martin Odegaard. I mean, this is your captain. I personally think he's gone under the radar for his shitty performances throughout the season. I mean, what are you guys saying about that? Because I don't hear him getting called out at all. And I'm like, this is the captain. He wasn't that bad today. But to be honest, he had some great passes that, if it were finished, will be an assist. But I still think he's been missing a lot of times this season. And I would have loved to see him, exert more of himself into this game and make more of passes that could have, broken lines or whatever. But I still think he had a decent game overall. But if I look at his performances throughout the season, you can't be okay with that. You can't have him playing like that and expecting to win a championship. How do you feel?
Well, to answer your first question, me personally, like I said, you need to take care of home before you take care of the world. Um, I think that there is. I mean, me personally, you need to be focusing on both. I think they're equally as important.
Hmm.
Um, I think they're the biggest two. They're the biggest two cups in the world. Club cups, I would say, club competitions in the world. I think that you should be focusing on both equally. I think for the next 5 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever, um, you should be your strongest lineups from here on out. There should be whoever's available. It should be the strongest lineups for here on out. So I don't think you should be favoring one over the other. I think they're
Okay.
both. I want to say they're equally as difficult to win, but
Hmm.
the hardest club competition and the hardest club league. I think they're very hard to win. I think your focus needs to be on both. In terms of the Odegaard situation, I mean, bro, I can sit here and point out Odegaard, but I can sit here and point out our entire front four, bro.
Hmm.
Hasn't been good enough from our entire front four. Yes, Odegaard is our captain, and yes, he needs to lead by example. And yes, his performances have not been up to par. I've been talking about it all season. I've been talking about it
Hmm.
all season, but I'm not going to sit here and just point on Odegaard and say, "Oh, you've been trash all season." No, I can sit here and talk about Martinelli. He's been great. He hasn't been great. Trossard hasn't been great.
Yeah,
I'm going to be real about it. Saka
that's fair.
hasn't.
That's
As you
fair.
look at his complete season, Saka hasn't been great. Talking about guys 2, 3 seasons ago that were all sitting on 10 plus goals.
Yeah.
Now I don't even know. I think Saka's at what 6 goals this year. Odegaard, I don't even. I think he's less than 5 goals. Gabriel Jesus is nowhere to be found. Martinelli, I think he's in the league is sitting on less than 10 goals. I think Trossard sitting. I don't think we have a 10 outside Jokeres. I don't think we have a 10 goal scorer in our front four, which is an issue. That's a
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
issue. There's no
Yeah.
reason that none of you guys should be scoring.
Yeah.
Having less than 5 goals in a season in a Premier League season. 10 goals in a Premier League season. It shouldn't be the case, and it's not like you guys haven't had the chances to score. Odegaard, I saw you a cutback goals that I used to see you finish for fun like 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Now it's hitting your right foot, hitting your left foot. Now it's going wide. Now it's not even on
Yeah.
frame. So, bro, I can sit here and talk about Odegaard and this and the third, but at the end of the day, bro, I can sit here and talk about everyone. Like I said, from kick one this
Hmm.
week, I saw that City wanted this game more. It showed it. I saw it. I could see it. They were winning every first and second ball. They were controlling the match. Guys looked like they had a pep in their step. You can tell when guys can feel the crowd as well. The crowd gave them that extra oomph, and they fed into that, and everyone was on top of their game. I can't say the same for Arsenal, bro. Not saying obviously it's going to be a hostile environment, but I can't say the same for them. So
Bro, can I ask you this? Like, what do you think it is, though? Like,
at this point, if I'm being so honest, at this point, we can go to injuries, we can go to this, but honestly, I'm looking at it now, and this is I won't even say just tactics overall as a squad. I won't
Okay.
even say that. But our tactics offensively and in the build up, I won't even say necessarily in the build up because we can play through teams. But our offensive tactics, they're flawed. They're flawed. They're
Okay.
flawed. And I can't even pinpoint exactly what it is. I don't know if it's uh just maybe we don't play through the middle enough because obviously our tactics are to get the ball wide, have our wingers create, cross the ball in, play have guys overlap and then have the opposite side left back come in and tuck in and help the midfielders out. All that building out of the back is great, but offensively, our tactics, whether we're not playing through the middle enough and we're trying to play out wide too much and have that area of focus be, what our focus is offensively. I think the tactics are flawed because it's not the players anymore.
Okay.
Two,
Okay.
3 years ago, I used to say, "Oh, players, players," and I could say that I had that excuse. We had Rob Holding, bro. We had El Nenis. We had
Okay.
Cedric Soares. We had guys that you can't win a trophy with, respectfully, you know. But now I can't say we have Saliba, Gabriel starting. We have Hincapie starting. We have Mosquera, even though he's young, great player. We have Zubamendi, Declan Rice in the middle. We have Odegaard in the middle. We have Eze. We have Martinelli. We have a 50 Kai Havertz, and then we have a guy coming off the bench, 50 goals last year.
Mhm.
We have players and guys coming off the bench. So even with the injuries, and yes, they're tough. Obviously, our best player in Saka is missing, but even with the injuries, we have the players to go and get a job done. And it showed today. We could have gotten the job done. They hit the post.
Mhm.
We hit the post too.
Mhm.
They had chances. We had chances too. The difference is
Yeah.
they finish it. So for me, I really don't even think it's a player thing. It's a personnel thing. Yes, obviously we can always make the squad better with better play with this player here, a winger here, this player there. The squad can always get better. Any one of our teams can get better. It's not that. But now I'm looking at it from tactically. What has changed now
Mhm.
from 2 years ago? What has changed now?
Mhm.
Because we were scoring at
Interesting.
a much higher clip, and now it doesn't look as free flowing. Now it looks extremely stagnant.
Yeah.
Now offensively, it looks dead. So you as a manager now are tinkering with something, or you have a style of play offensively that you want these guys to play that it feels like they think about it too much. It's like, oh, we have to push through what Arteta wants. And
Mhm.
it doesn't feel as free flowing. I don't feel like a player can just go and take a player on 1v1. I don't
Okay.
even see it anymore. How many times do we see Saka really go 1v1 at players, or any of our players for that matter of fact, and actually go in and cut in and shoot? A lot of it is
Mhm.
down the line, cross the ball, and down the line. There's not a lot of creativity in our front four, and not a lot of free flowing in our front four. And from Odegaard as well. I know he's been injured, but the same thing as him. Not as much creativity. A lot of back passes, a lot of passes out wide instead of how many times did Odegaard get the
Progressive
ball and
passage.
just playing it through one time to
Yeah.
Martinelli, straight in on goal. Guys making runs in behind. We don't see any of that anymore, bro. We don't. So at this point, it comes to tactically, Arteta offensively, it's not good enough. It's not. It's not. And I don't even want to get into
That's
the
fair.
whole Arteta
That's
thing, but
fair.
that's what I think it is. And bro, listen, man, I'll say what I have to after the season, but listen, these guys have 5 weeks to get it together.
Yeah.
Simple as that. You have 5 weeks.
Yeah.
No, I like that, and I was very anxious to hear your thoughts on the game, because I watched the game, and as a neutral, there was a few things that really stood out to me. First, on the Arsenal side, you're really starting to see Saka's value and what he brings to the team. I think offensively speaking, man, when I saw that front four, I was concerned. Uh, really, really, because and I agree with the decision, and I agree with what you said about Havertz starting. I don't think this was a game for Gyökeres. Um, I don't even think Gyökeres is getting on the end of that Donnarumma blunder. To be very honest with you, I just don't think that he's quick enough to get there.
Mhm.
Um, the Eze situation is very interesting because I mean this is one of the best players in the league. I know it may not he may not show it right now based off of this current season. I don't know if he's coming off of an injury or where he's at physically. But that was also kind of puzzling for me as well too. And obviously, yeah, he hit the post. Havertz, had his chance on the end, but I wanted to really just talk on the City side. Really, first off, I think, and I said this in the group, I think this Gabriel versus Holland rivalry is really, turning out to be one of the best rivalries we've seen. I mean, these are the two top guys in their position in the league, arguably
Hmm.
probably the world as well too. And I mean, it was pretty even. And obviously,
Hmm.
Holland got the better of him on the, you know,
On the go.
on the goal, which ultimately
Hmm.
is, that's not where you want him to get the better end of you. But it kind of is what it is there. But and you guys were the two best teams. But I just wanted to say, man, like for this city team, you got to give them credit. I think, and I know a lot of the narrative is really surrounded Arsenal, but I don't think that City's quite getting you know, the praise that they really deserve. I think ever since Rodri really came in into full fitness, I mean, this has been a completely different team. Um, Rayon Cherky to me is the most talented player in the league, man. I don't think he's not going to win Player of the Season by any means, but if we're being real and if we're talking about the best player in the league, I think it's him, and I think he's a talented guy. That first goal, I was like, wow, this is the best.
Yeah.
Gabriel, he had Gabriel on his knee. He hit the Kaepernick. I was like, yo,
Hmm.
this is who I've been saying is the best center back in the league, and it's not all on Gabriel. I mean, he
Hmm.
went through damn near everybody, but
Yeah. So he even
one of
got
the big
men.
yeah, but the one of the biggest things as well too. I mean, Rodri going off hurt, I think is going to be a big miss for them. And to be very
Mhm.
honest with you, I don't I don't think that they're going to win out every game if he's not in the picture. I think he's too
Mhm.
important for them. And when you look at this run that they've had, um, it's been when he's been, in the lineup and is at full fitness. Because I know he was battling with stuff going into this season. But if they don't have him, I don't see how they're gonna pull this out because he's a big piece to this puzzle. And shout out to Nico Gonzalez, but no Rodri, man. Rodri to me was one of the
Yeah.
best players on the pitch today. So,
Mhm.
but no, I mean, two of the best teams in the Prem, man. It was as a neutral, it was an entertaining game to watch. Um, but I don't know. I'm curious on why Arteta seems to pick on Eze. It just seems as if I don't know. I agree. I don't see why you take him off, especially after he was so close to scoring as well too. And
Yeah.
And
uh,
yeah, he was our biggest offensive threat. Um, you know, and yeah, man, I just don't know. I forgot about the Kai Havertz chance when we stole the ball from City and Kai Havertz had a 1v1 opportunity and just
Yeah.
slugged it. Like that's just the difference, man. It's just the difference. We have
that was a
guys.
great save by
And
Donnarumma.
then great save by Donnarumma,
Mhm.
but Kai Havertz, you have to be finishing, bro. It's because
Yeah.
on the other hand, what happens? You're on your favorite left foot. You're on your left foot. You're in on goal, clear opportunity. Finish.
Yeah,
We pay you too much, bro. Finish. And on the other end, what does Holland do? With a guy dragging him down as
Yeah.
well. It's not even as if
Good
he's not
point.
even with a guy on him. A guy's not on him, Kai Havertz. The Holland, a guy is dragging him down partially, and here we are in this situation. So yeah, man, I don't even want to say it's a personnel thing, bro. These guys just aren't performing at the level they should be performing at. As simple as that. And Salam, I'm glad you said it, and I don't have to keep saying it every week. You guys want to say all this about Saka and say that, this and the third. Okay. When you take Saka out of this side, what do we look like? What do we look like?
because it's not
When
even
you
just
take
about.
That's why I asked you last
you can
week.
take any other player out of this team. You can take Raya. You can take Rice out. You can take Zubimendi. You can take Odegaard out. You can take whoever you want to out of this side. We have a replacement, and they should be able to do okay. And they'll actually they'll be fine in the system, and we'll be able to get results. You take Saka out of this side. What do we
Yeah,
look like? What do we
Yeah.
it's
look like?
Yeah.
much
That's
more.
why I asked you last week. Can y'all
It's
do it without
ridiculous.
soccer?
No, we cannot. And when they said, oh, he's not playing this weekend, I said, it's looking long. It's looking long because we're gonna have start. Madueke, he came off hurt the last match. So and he hasn't even been performing well. Max Dowman, he's a young youth, 16. Do I want Trossard starting on the right, not really. Jesus starting on the right, So
I mean, you're
yeah,
gonna see it with
it
City
won't.
now with Rodri, like him being out. Like Nico Gonzalez is not going to be able to fill his shoes the same
Like
way.
Yeah.
no, I agree, Salam. I agree. And do I think it'll be as crazy? I don't think it's as crazy just because City's been in this position before and they've done it. So can they win without Rodri? Yeah, 100%. But have we ever won anything without Saka? Absolutely not. When's the last time we won anything without Saka? Anything? Nothing. We have not won a thing without him. So, like I said, this next 5 weeks is obviously important. But if we don't have Saka back, bro, it's looking so like we need him back ASAP. ASAP. As soon as he is fit to play, to give 60, 70 minutes, bro, you'll see how different our squad looks. You'll see the free flowingness come back because so much goes through him when he's not there. And so he draws so much defensively from every team. Obviously, all eyes are on him. When you look at this squad today, he's not a guy that you say, oh, we need to keep eyes on him. We need to make sure we double down in this and the third every time. You saw Gabriel following Shirky to their opposing 18. Gabriel was on City's 18, following Ryan Cherokee all the way up there. We don't have a player like that they have to do that to right now. That's also an issue. He draws so much attention that it takes pressure off of the Kai Havertz. It takes pressure off of Gyökeres. It takes pressure off of Odegaard, Eze, Martinelli, all these guys. But when you don't have that type of threat, teams look at you and say, "Oh man, they don't have Saka today."
Yeah.
No, you're right. They are.
And to Mike's point, it's like again, you look at a guy like Odegaard, you're the captain. I need you to come on, bro. I need you to, you know what I'm saying? But and you know what? Just the we can move on after this. I know it's this was game of the week, but man, I really do feel for all banter aside, I feel for Arteta in the sense of just because midweek when he did the I'm on fire, you know what I'm saying? Like I know a lot of people thought it was funny, and it is. It certainly is funny. But it's almost like the audacity of how are you questioning? I know we've fallen short and stuff all like that the past few seasons, but don't try and diminish what I've done here though. And this team respectfully wasn't competing for anything, and then I came into the picture, turned this thing around, and it's like it seems as if I don't know. I feel for him, man, because if you guys don't get the job done this year, and even in Champions League 2, man, he's in a very tough position. I don't know where the board and you guys are, the fans are with him, but man, if you guys come up short again this year, there's a lot of eyes on that man, and then he'll be on fire for real, broadly.
Yeah. No. I agree.
No, that's funny. I mean, Arsenal will cross that bridge once they get there, but at this point, I feel like they're just looking towards a week at a time. At this point, whether it's Champions League and the league, they're just looking at a game at a time, because that's all they can do at this point. Just take care of business, and like Gabriel said, win by as much as you can and diminish the goals from coming in on the other side. But to switch pace a little bit and talk about our MLS teams, I do want to get into our Ohio teams, but I do want to begin with the Inter Miami versus Colorado Rapids game. Broke history for the second most attended match in MLS history. Just want to go down the top 5 matches. The biggest one so far is 82,110. It was LA Galaxy versus LAFC. That happened on July 4th and 23 at the Rose Bowl. Like I said last night, Colorado Rapids versus Inter Miami. That happened at the Mile High Stadium in Denver. LAFC versus Inter Miami, February 21st to 2026. That happened at the LA Coliseum over there for LAFC. Charlotte FC versus LA Galaxy reached 74,479. That was at Bank of America Stadium. And then rounding out the top 5, another Inter Miami versus Sporting KC. That happened at Arrowhead in St. Louis. And I just want to say, Inter Miami, man,
pulling crowds.
Messi, even when he came to Ohio and he played at Brown Stadium,
Yeah.
versus the Columbus Crew. I believe that was last summer.
Yeah.
Bessie brings a crowd, and gearing up for this international tournament, the World Cup that's coming here in the U.S. It's good to see crowds come out, because obviously
Yeah.
Messi is one of the biggest players this sport has ever seen. But to look at some of these numbers, it gives you a little bit of hope of potentially filling these stadiums for these games here this summer. But as we like to talk about, losers go first. Columbus Crew, man.
Yeah, bro.
Tough loss again this past weekend. Started up 1-0, but obviously one goal was not enough to get points here this weekend. So, Mike, we talked about it last week with Abu Ali gone, another goal scoring threat gone. Rossi can't
Yeah.
do it by himself.
Yeah, man. I mean, we were, watching the game a little bit when we were out this past weekend. And I mean, like I've been saying throughout the season, man, something has to change. The fans are starting to get frustrated now. New managers come out and spoken about, how it's been tough. He was admitting that, Wilfred Nancy's, philosophy has been really instilled in these guys. So he's had a tough time trying to, kind of switch things up a little bit. So his solution was to kind of slowly kind of go back to what they know and then slowly kind of move them off of it. But as of right now, I'm not quite sure if that's gonna work. I hate talking or bringing up coaches getting fired or changing coaches or whatnot. But I mean, with the fan base, it seems like his time is running out. Because I follow other Columbus Crew content creators and people that talk about the crew, and everybody seems to be kind of harping on that end of things in terms of like, okay, we got to start looking at the manager. And it sucks because we're not too long into the season, so changing that might be maybe the first right step to take. We've already seen one team in the MLS move on from their manager, but I'm not saying this is the right time to do it. But it seems like whatever he's trying to pass down to these guys is just not working. And like I've said, I mean, look at what happened this past weekend with the PK. Camacho giving away the PK. I don't know. Does it come down to the fact that maybe the guy he was going on was a little younger? I don't know, man. But it's crazy to look at that back line and have any type of confidence. Midfield is not looking good either. Right now it looks like the only thing that I actually believe in that has any type of capability to do anything might be our offense. But we need the guys behind the offensive guys to help them, and it's just not working out, man. So a few weeks ago I said it's not time to panic yet, but we're getting to that time. We're not too far bottom on the table, but as the week goes, now we had a loss, so we slipped down a little bit. So I think we're getting into the territory of it's time to start panicking, because some of these results are unacceptable. I mean, this is a game I felt like we should have gotten a result out of. I mean, it's New England. New England is a pretty decent team, but they're not one of these big juggernauts in the East. So I didn't think I thought we matched up pretty well with them. So I wouldn't have, you know, foresaw this result, losing over there. I was thinking maybe leaving with a draw was feasible, but unfortunately that's not what happened. So I mean, we'll see what happens, man. With this injury, it makes things a lot difficult for us, because he seemed to be have been getting in his groove a little bit, and all of a sudden it seems like now we kind of got to figure out a new strategy, and the one we already had wasn't working like it should so far in the season. So now having to kind of tweak things again, it's kind of like starting over again. So I'm not quite sure if this group can adjust as quickly as we need them to. So I think it's going to be some tough weeks coming ahead of us, but hopefully when the window opens again, we can kind of bring some guys in, because this team needs revamped. And I think they didn't do a very good job this past off season bringing in the right guys. But I still want to see a lot from Andre Gomez. I still haven't heard from him a lot. I would love to see a little bit more from him. I would love to see him take control a little bit of the attack of this team. But we're still waiting. Hopefully he's going to show it to us at some point in the season. But yeah, that's where I stand right now with this crew team.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like, you know, the crew started up 1-0 and Cincinnati was in a little bit of a rut. They were down 2-1 and even 3-1 at one point. And as
Hmm.
soon as Cincinnati started turning it up a little bit, it seemed like Columbus started turning down a little bit. Columbus
Yeah.
was able to, or Cincinnati, I should say, was able to get some points out of this match. Down 3-1, was able to equalize and get a third goal close to the end of the match. Salam, we were both kind of watching on our phones the two separate games this past weekend, but your overall thoughts on Cincinnati's ability to fight back and at least get something out of the match.
I don't know. I think the good luck charm was the when the garlic parmesan wings came. Everything changed after that moment. And I still stand by this. We should have got 36 wings. We were left. We were left looking at each other like, "What are we doing here?" Um, man, but I mean, I'll break it down into two parts. First, with the Cincy side. I mean, if we're being honest, I think this point at home was good because we were able to show some fight back after being down. If we're being honest, this Chicago team is very good. I thought that they were very good last year, but I'll talk about Chicago here in a second. Um, More than anything, I think it was a confidence booster. I think if Evander looks like he's starting to get a little bit more confidence. I love the way he took the penalty, the Panica to go down the middle. I think that is, sometimes those moments are just like it kind of gives you a boost. And he looks like someone who kind of hasn't probably had the start of the season that he's probably wanted to have, or to the standard that he set himself for himself. But he's starting to look a little bit more comfortable, which is good for us. Tom Barlow, our striker, former Chicago Fire player, I like him more and more. I see him every game that I see him. I like him more and more. I think he's starting to, really make it tough for Pat Noonan to not start him in all these games, especially when Denke comes back. But overall, I really liked what I saw from him. Jabari, I thought Giddy had a good game in the midfield. Miles Robinson looked good. Uh, and yeah, man, I mean, if we're being honest, this is a pretty good Chicago team. So for us to be down and then, for us to show the home fans that, we have some fight back, I think was good. And overall, to get a point from the team that's, fourth in the Eastern Conference, is pretty good. I will say on the Chicago Fire side, this was the first time I watched them from start. Well, in large parts this season, and yeah, man, I really like the Chicago Fire team. I think you got to give Greg Berhalter a lot of credit. I think he's really turned that team around, starting from last year to where they are now. Zinkernagel, man, wow, player of the match for me. If you want to see a really good goal, look at the first goal that they scored. I think that the pass that he had from him to Cyprus, and then the finish that Cyprus had was really good. And then obviously Zinkernagel got the penalty as well too. But this is a good Chicago Fire team. Firmly fourth in the East. The only teams that are above them are Nashville, Inter Miami, and Charlotte. Which if we're being honest, those four teams are probably the best four teams in the East right now. So um, no, I think this is a team that we should keep an eye on in the East for sure. They were going to be one of my recaps, but um, to be honest with you, I would not be surprised if we see this team in a semifinal for the Eastern Conference. And I mean, their coach, we just got done talking about the crew and how important it is to have a veteran coach kind of on the sideline, and Greg Berhalter has done that. So uh, yeah, shout out to that Fire team. And, just speaking of managers, I obviously the news broke out that Javier Mascherano got let go. Not quite sure what happened there, or who they plan on bringing in, but uh, yeah, that'll be interesting. But yeah, the East will be interesting, man, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we
did have
actually
champ-
don't. Well, I
Yeah.
was gonna say, yeah, we don't know what happened with that Mascherano thing. That kind of came out of left field, but yeah, no, I do want to talk about Champions League too. We don't have to get into predictions for the next round because games don't start until next week. But I do want to touch on, the two big ones. Sporting, Arsenal was, a little bit of a snooze fest. Arsenal just had to get through, which they did. And then Paris Saint-Germain, they took care of business at Anfield. Dembele, brace, kind of just cleaning up what they did over the first leg. But we got to talk about the two you know, our two La Liga teams, man, Barcelona and Atletico Madrid. This match went a little bit differently than I think that we originally thought.
Hmm.
Well, maybe some of us. I fully expected a Yamal revenge game, a Yamal legacy game, and he did what he could. He scored a goal, but ultimately Atletico Madrid was triumphant in the end, being able to get it done with wins over in both legs. Just your thoughts on the match and Simeone's Champions League run this season. Gabriel, start with you.
I mean, listen, there's a stat that came out that said in elimination games in the Champions League over Simeone's 20 years, when he has to play a return leg, and it's at home, he has never lost. And hey, once again, proves that theory to be right. I mean, Yamal did what he could, scored in the first 10 minutes. Had an amazing first half, but let's be real, second half they shut him down and shut him out. And just shout out to Atletico for obviously they're playing a bit more defensive, but on the counter attack they executed very well and they would get the job done. Yamal, like I said, just like we'll get into that game later, but just like Goulart did everything he could for Madrid. I feel like Yamal did everything he did for Barca. He really could for Barca. Some guys didn't finish chances that they had. He, was able to finish the chance that he had as well. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I said it. Atletico will probably get through. It was a mean park the bus, but they still had to come out their shell and still get, score a goal on their end too. It was exciting, but I said, man, Atletico team is looking good. So
Yeah. I mean, I
Fair
think I
enough.
think you pretty much said everything. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, on the flip side, we saw a big 4-3 slugfest when it came down
Hmm.
to Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich, and quality shines through there as well. And Munich was able to go through. Unfortunate red card by Kamavinga, but at the end of the day, you got to be smarter. You're on a yellow
So,
when you come in as a sub as well. You didn't play the full 90, so you're already playing with a bridged minute sitting on a yellow card. Just got to be smarter, man. At the end of the day, we talk about the margins and how football is a game of margins, and if you play 11v11, who knows what happens at the end of the match. But
yeah.
Olise was able to get his goal to, clinch going through to the next round. We kind of talked about this Bayern Munich team and how they're kind of set up to be in Europe and to win Champions League this year. Did this match kind of confirm everybody's original thoughts?
I mean, bro, I said this. I said Madrid is out. This Bayern team is too good, man. Too good for this Madrid team. This Madrid team has too many egos and attitudes, and it's just not cohesive.
Yeah.
Bayern is, bro. They have a complete team, and not only do they have a complete team, they have a complete manager too, who is leading the charge for them. So, added all those things in. Do I think Madrid is a complete team player wise? 100%. Do I think that they have the players to get the job done and could have got the job done? 100%. But when it comes down to it, I just think that at the end of the day, Bayern's manager helped them get through, and I think the cohesiveness as a team is there. And I truly what I attest, this Bayern win to is just the cohesiveness. There's just too many egos and attitudes. I hate to pick on Vinny, but I think there's a video where it's like Vinny was telling a player to shut up mid-match, and it's like, bro, Like what? We're fighting for the same thing on the
Mm,
same pitch together, you know. And I know this is not the only moment that obviously it's the heat of moment. I've said things to
yeah.
teammates in the middle of matches, you know, that other people may deem as negative or derogatory, but like I never told like, hey, shut up. Like I've never been like one of those, you know. I don't know. It's a little different and weird
Yeah.
for me, but you know, I just think the cohesiveness is what took Bayern through. But outside of the quality and all of that, I think the team cohesiveness is what helped, and you know, and unfortunately, it was too much for them.
Yeah, well said. I don't think this whole like this freestyle style that Real Madrid has had and kind of embraced over the past few years. I think that's done. I think it's done, especially with Don Carlo. I mean, at least with Don Carlo, you had a guy there that still warranted a lot of respect. I think
Mhm.
Arbiola. I mean, shout out to him. But like, I think that's a guy that those players kind of walk all over. If I'm being honest, and maybe they don't, but just I think this whole just I'm a player manager. It's just like, well, no, I think like you said, Gabriel. I think the difference was the cohesiveness. Vincent Company set
Mhm.
his team up for what they were going to do, and Mike said it. I think after the first leg, like I think they really showed the difference in level after that first leg. Like, wow, we're outplaying you guys at the Bernabeu. You guys aren't sniffing the
Mhm.
ball. And I mean, to be honest with you, they had a good thing there with Xabi Alonso, but they didn't really align with his structure. And to your point, Gabriel, I don't know. Maybe I think that the summer that I mean they're gonna have they revamp every summer for being honest, but like they're I think some decisions need to be made though because
Mhm.
I think Mbappe needs to be like the guy there, and at times it seems as if Vinny wants to be that person, and even what's funny is sometimes the guy that's actually playing well in Arda Gular, it's like I can't even really be that person because those two, they
Yeah.
can do that. But you got to give Mbappe credit. This is what I want to say. He was my lock of the week. You got to give him credit for like, bro. That guy shows up. I know there's a lot of banter about him too, about Champions League. Oh, here we are again. You're out 2 years in a row. They just won without you. You seem to be bad luck. And then what PSG wins without you. But
Mhm.
all season, man, in the Champions League, he's had a historic run. And I think he really showed
Mhm.
up if he just, had some help. But
But to your point though, Salam, I and maybe they do need to make Mbappe the main guy or whatever. But at the end of the day, when you look at the way any of these Galacticos teams have been set up, the real Galacticos teams find a way to make everyone who's a superstar on the pitch work together. Even when Benzema, Bale, Ronaldo, when they had their little, you know what I'm saying, their little dust ups, they figured it out. And I
But they
feel like if
complemented
you
each other, bro. They complemented each other. These guys don't complement each other.
I
Mbappe is like
agree,
the white
so
shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like Vinny is the same type of player. If you want Mbappe to play down the middle, you need to have people on the outsides that are going to cater to him. Like you can't
Mhm.
have two of the
that's
same
fair.
player on the same front line doing that. You know what I'm saying? Or move Mbappe out wide and go get that main striker. But
That's striker.
I just
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Benzema worked for Bale and Ronaldo. Like the same way
Mhm.
Firmino worked for Mane and Salah, but like it's just if you don't want to coach, like that's fine, but at least put together a team that at least complement each other. I think
Mhm.
That's a good point.
defensively they are atrocious, and I
Yeah.
love Rudiger. I love Rudiger. Husin, I don't know, like I don't even know what to think of Husin right now. Trent, it's just like we know Trent. We watched him every fucking week, like a
Yeah.
few years ago. It's like it's just you can't win like that, bro. The game is evolving. There's too many good teams now to where you can't just like, oh, we're Galacticos. Like, nah, man. Like you don't.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, you don't have a
Yeah.
Ronaldo on your team. You don't. You don't even have a Benzema on your team. You have an Mbappe, but like you're trying to play house with this other guy.
That's fair.
That's a
I
good point.
agree.
That's a fair point.
Mhm.
I gotta say I agree with that. But yeah, man, hopefully they can figure it out. It's been one of those up and down seasons for Madrid. I think second year in a row that they're gonna go with no trophies. But like you said, they always have a big summer and they figure it out. But yeah, good episode, boys. That's pretty much all I had on the table.
Do shout outs and predictions
Shoutouts.
and get out of here.
Yeah, predictions.
How did we do on locks? Actually.
Mine was Brighton money line, so mine ain't hit.
Oh yeah, yours didn't hit.
So we went 3 for 4. That's not bad.
That's
Champions League. How do we
solid.
do in Champions League? Mine hit. I think
Mine
Mike's.
hit as well. Yeah.
What was everybody else's? I forgot.
I had your
Mine
mom
was
assist,
Yeah.
I believe.
If anyone had
Oh,
anything in the Arsenal game, then it didn't hit. 'Cause I
That
know
was
mine
me.
was Luis Diaz.
I had a bunch of. Oh no, I didn't even know that you hit that, Gabriel. I had some few parlays midweek, and all of them just didn't hit because no one decided that. I don't know. You guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. No shots on target, no nothing, man. But let's do predictions. I think there's some midweek games, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
So
played
let's
Brighton
do.
on Tuesday.
You
I
played. Ooh. Okay.
yeah. Arsenal plays Newcastle on Saturday, 12:30. Must win. I just every week you're just gonna hear me say 3 points. That's what's needed. So
Where's the game?
at Emirates. If it was at Newcastle, I'd be like we're in a different story. But we need the Emirates right now. I think we're at the Emirates for the next 2 Premier League home games. Or yeah, the next 2 Premier League games are Newcastle and Fulham, both at home. So
Wow.
you know,
Is Saka out for the year?
don't know.
Damn.
He should be coming back, but who knows, man? This guy plays injured. You guys can talk about the limp all you want, but hey, guy plays through injuries till he can't play anymore, and this is how because he knows this is how we look without him. Sad.
Yeah, he is overused. That I would always stand on. I feel like they play him too much. But that's the thing. If you don't play him, exactly, this is how he'll look. But I think we play we see Brighton on
Brighton Munich.
Tuesday.
Bet the over.
Yeah, I have no belief in these guys, man. I'm hoping this is a hope prediction of give me a point. This is a game we're making up, so we do have a game in hand. We can choose to hopefully take advantage, but I don't see it. So I'm just gonna go draw, even though I don't even believe in this draw.
Spurs was able to get a draw, Mike. We can do it. We can do the same. That's where I'm at.
Hopefully.
That's our level right now.
Yeah.
United.
Well, we play next Monday, so we'll be here next week.
Jeez.
Yeah, man. I feel like y'all. It's always so much time in between y'all
Yeah,
I
games.
know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Our guys they're taking online courses, online classes in between all that time. But I'll do one for
B and C
I'll do-
licenses.
yeah, man. I'll do one for So Man City plays Burnley on Wednesday. I think we can
Yeah.
all expect that to be
I need Burnley to do something for me, man.
Yeah, it'll be funny. Burnley can do a real funny thing here, and
No, the real
interesting.
the real team that has the cheat code to not only the title race but also the relegation battle is Crystal Palace. They're the only team who has a say directly in both races. If
Yeah.
Crystal Palace
I
somehow
agree.
lose tomorrow, West Ham is in a better position to avoid relegation, and also Crystal Palace plays us. They play City on the Friday that they play before us.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
before the last match week of the season. So
Okay.
they have a direct line to everyone,
Yeah.
to everybody who has something to fight for at
Playing
this point.
spoiler.
Yeah, they have to.
That's
They can play
crazy.
spoiler to everyone. So
yeah.
let's see.
The only prediction I'll do is for Wolves and Spurs, just for the sake of it, just because. I mean, like Gabriel said, if Spurs lose to Wolves, I mean, you probably deserve to go down. But
Yeah, at that
no,
point,
man.
you signed your ticket.
I see them winning though. I see them winning at the Molineux for whatever reason. That might be my lock of the week too. But
I'm gonna take Wolves money line lock of the week.
That tequila's still in me.
I mean, if you play the way they played this weekend, sure, but
Yeah.
it's the
All right.
risky one.
Shout outs.
Shout outs. I'll start. I'll make it mine short and sweet. My shout out actually goes to my guy that I've always rocked with, appreciated, Morgan Gibbs White. Hat trick on the day, captain Nottingham Forest, and not single handedly, but being one of the main guys to, get them out of this relegation battle. And not saying that this game solely makes them safe, but just another push to being safe and staying in the Prem for another year. So,
Mhm.
yeah, man, shout out Morgan Gibbs White. I don't know if this is his first Premier League hat trick either. I feel like he's had maybe one more, but who knows? Anyway, shout out to him.
It'll be his first and his last one for Nottingham Forest because he's out of there next year.
Hey,
Yeah.
man, and I'm so happy, I'm so happy he didn't go to Spurs, man. Seriously, because like, yes, he would have helped Spurs. Maybe they wouldn't be in the situation that they're at now. But this is the
knows?
club that you are potentially going to go to. Look at them
Yeah.
twerking with
Look at
relegation, bro.
You see
Twerking with
Robertson?
relegation.
You see Robertson and Senesi? Like, what are you guys doing, man?
What are you guys doing?
Yeah,
Crazy
Bro,
world.
I
I
mean,
saw James Madison cameo. I was like, you back?
He got long hair now.
that's
I was like,
crazy.
okay.
Yes.
But I'll go next. My shout out is gonna go to Aiden Heaven. When I tell you, one of the biggest bargains, one of the best forms of business we've done in a while. Aiden Heaven was massive for us against Chelsea. This is a guy he hasn't even really played all like that. And all season I feel like we've had so many different combinations of center backs, but every time he's been in, he's been good.
Mhm.
Looked a little rusty in a few moments, but I just I really like him as a player. I think that we have something in the future here. And to be honest with you, and this is nothing against Lenny Euro, but when I'm looking at both of those youngsters, I'm like, there's sometimes where I'm looking at Heaven and I'm like, yo, bro, you're playing the way that I thought Lenny Euro was supposed to be playing, and you got to give him credit. Nothing against Euro, but I really liked what I saw from this Heaven kid, and hopefully he can get more time from now until the end of the season. But I think we got something there with him.
All right, my shout out goes to Super Frankie Lampard, man, Chelsea
I knew you were
legend.
gonna do it.
Brought Coventry back into the Premier League from the Championship. We've always said it. Cornelius said it. I've said it. That was his level. You kind of needed to earn your way to the big leagues, and he's proven us right. A few years ago, I said it on the pod when he was our manager. I was starting to his legendary status was starting to diminish a little bit because he was taking jobs that were too big for him, and I feel like he finally found his fit, and I would love to see him you know, continue with Coventry throughout, their stay in the Premier League. Maybe if they stay or go back, just stick it around, because I think this is a very good fit for him and this is his level. So congrats to him. I would love to see him make noise in the Prem. But yeah, that's my shout out for the week.
Nah,
He's
man, Mike. I knew you were gonna give him a shout out, and I had him as a backup just in case you did. And one word of advice: if Chelsea calls, do not pick up the
Don't pick
phone,
up.
Frank. Don't do it.
he's
I'm
gonna
just telling
be
you right now, don't do it. Stick with
I
Coventry,
mean,
like
did
Mike
you
said,
see his
man. Even
quote?
if it's just for a year, bro.
He said every time Chelsea calls him, he's gonna take
gonna
the
pick up.
job.
Hey,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So,
feel him,
but I'm
and
glad you kind of
honestly,
said that though.
I wouldn't be mad on a second go round with him. Not necessarily right now. I'm not saying this is the guy I want post Rosenior, but what I am saying is we kind of thought that the job was premature when he got it the first time around,
Yeah.
and he needed to get banged up a little bit. He needed to earn his stripes, and what he's done this year in Coventry, I mean, they're clearly the best team in the championship.
Hmm.
So this is the step in the right direction for sure. I totally agree with that. But
He's gonna
don't
get
pick up
them
the phone right
promoted.
now, Frank. I'm telling you, it's toxic over here, my boy.
Set up.
Yeah, I don't want you to go 0 for 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, come back when you're ready, just not right now. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, my shout out is for Tahiris Dos Santos. I don't know if y'all remember, but this is a story I talked about back
Oh
in
yeah.
January when it happened. This was the player who was on holiday with his girlfriend in Montana. They were at a ski resort, and there was a fire that happened at a nightclub. And he actually went back into the nightclub and was able to rescue his girlfriend and a few others. However, there were some casualties, and as a result of him going back in, he had very, very bad burns. 30% of his body was burned, according to this article
Wow.
I'm reading. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. He just signed his first professional contract with Metz over in France, so he will be playing. 19 years old, so he still has ton of life ahead of him. And it's just good to hear that he was able to rehab and sign that first professional contract. He was one of those players that was on the cusp before it happened, and it's just nice to hear those stories. So Tahiris dos Santos, shout out to you getting your first professional contract.
That was a good one, man. Yeah, shout out to Frank, man. Frank's gonna get them promoted to the Premier League and then relegated back to the championship. So,
I'm not
Sent
gonna
right
lie,
back.
man. I'm gonna be watching him. Haji Wright on that team too, American boy.
Yeah, we got a
yeah.
Ghanaian dude on there too.
Haji, you gotta leave, Haji. You gotta leave, Haji.
No, that's his fit, man.
I honestly think he stays up. I'm not gonna lie. I think he stays up. We'll see the
Really?
other two teams. Yeah, I actually think he can stay up. I think that he's with Chelsea. It was one of those things where he just wasn't able to manage everything that was going on at the time. Where it was
Mhm.
also bro. That was probably the worst time for him to be manager on
Yeah.
with us. But now he has a lot more control. I feel like because it is Coventry and they're coming back after how many, like 20 plus years, he has a little bit more control of the team, and they're willing to be a little bit riskier with Frank. I think with Chelsea, he was kind of given, this is how we want to do it. This is what you have to do. These are the players we're going to give you. And he just wasn't ready for all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he had Tammy and you know Mason,
Mount.
all those guys. So, but no, good episode, guys. Good seeing y'all this weekend. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Subscribe to our Patreon. Subscribe to our Patreon. Subscribe to our Patreon. Support your local podcast. Till next time. Peace.